The FBI revealed in a criminal complaint this week that one of the San Bernardino shooters, the husband, Saeed Rizwan Farouk, and an alleged co-conspirator who bought the couple's assault rifles were inspired by former Al-Qaeda leader Anwar al-Awlaki. The U.S. killed al-Awlaki in a drone strike 4 years ago in Yemen, but his legacy lives on in hours of recordings, many posted online. New York Times reporter Scott Shane wrote the book Objective Troy about al-Awlaki and the drone war. He joins me now from Baltimore. You mentioned in your article in the Times today that there is now increased pressure on internet companies. Where is that coming from, and how are these companies responding?
Well, it's not really coming from the government, although many counterterrorism officials are very distressed by al-Awlaki's continuing influence on the radicalization of some Americans. It's coming more from the sort of advocates who are working to counter extremism, especially in the Muslim community. And some of it's coming from a group called the Counter-Extremism Project, which includes a number of former government officials. They're the ones who are sort of leading this call for YouTube and other internet platforms to pull down Anwar al-Awlaki's material.
There were connections in the Fort Hood shooter, the failed underwear bomber, the Tsarnaev brothers. They were all in some way, shape, or form inspired by what they heard on the internet from al-Awlaki. But where does it stop? How do you figure out what's hate speech, what's extremist speech, what's the thing that actually triggers someone to pick up arms against the United States?
I mean, in writing this book, Objective Troy, about Anwar al-Awlaki, of course, I used YouTube and other internet sites and listened to many, many hours of al-Awlaki talking. So people, who want to understand radicalization, who want to understand terrorism, these are important things to look at. But it is complicated because, the country is spending billions of dollars to prevent terrorism. And, in some ways, the main engines of radicalization are provided, ironically, by some of the United States' most successful and prominent companies.
As you pointed out, there were 60,000 results for his videos on YouTube today. So what is the technological fix?
Well, part of what makes his particular case complicated is that he was a very successful, popular imam in the United States for a number of years. And so he did, for example, a 53 CD set on the life of the Prophet Muhammad, totally mainstream stuff, very popular among English-speaking Muslims, certainly in the years before al-Awlaki became a terrorist. And that is up there on YouTube as well. The Counter-Extremism Project believes that YouTube should take down not just the calls for violence from Anwar al-Awlaki, but all of his material, because they say that the mainstream stuff sort of establishes his respectability and his authority. And then when he tells people your religious obligation is to kill Americans and attack the United States, that hits home. But many civil rights groups, Muslim advocacy groups, have a big problem with that.
All right, Scott Shane, reporter of the New York Times, joining us from Baltimore. His book is called Objective Troy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.